And Shalom, first of all, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, B'Shem Rakak. I want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles, GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful dates and teaching the truth and also say, right? It's Rakal Makapash, GMS London, back again. Just in addition to what I just did a video on, the fact that, these CBDCs they want to use to identify you and track you and all this kind of stuff, as well as control what you spend things on. And I forgot about this article here that I had, or based off the video Apostle Har re-upped with this article here, right? So I went and searched up the article, and it's from Tech Knowledge, which I'll leave in the link in the description box, right? I'm not going to read all of this, but it's just the back of what I was saying, right? Now I can't find a source where the WEF have said this directly, right? So I don't know where that is, but you got this guy Richard Werner, or Professor Richard Werner, who's a bit of an insider, a bit of a um, well-known economist, someone that's worked in the banking and finance industry, very kind of decorated in these fields, right? Who stated this, right? So as you can see here, the title of this, right? So, and it's basically, maybe he's listening to us, but it's basically what we're saying, right? So you see that top paragraph there. I ain't gonna read that just in case, right? But I'm gonna read this because this is what he said, right? It's according to Professor Richard Werner. In the very near future, citizens will need to use the latest technology, such as a CBDC CHIP implant, in order to access their bank accounts. All right, it says Professor Richard A. Werner is an economist, right? Which oh, it's here. That's why, right? And so he's a well-known, legit, person in the finance and economy and that, right? So he's the one that's been saying this. Like I say, he's worked among these people, right? So he kind of knows the score, what's going on or what's going down, what their intentions are. All right. So Professor Richard A. Werner is an economist and a professor of banking and finance. He is known as the proponent of a new post-crisis monetary policy he called quantitative easing. So he's the one that come up with the idea, or the policy of quantitative easing. Okay, which is fucked up the the economy, right? All this money in the system, and devalued it, right? So, which he proposed in Japan in 1995 as a chief economist of a British investment bank, right? So it's kind of his idea, and they've used it later on down the line. So they're just showing his credentials and that, in this part, but really, I just want to make this a quick one. I just want to get to the points of it, right? Oh, what was this bit? Right, so it's a conditional currency based on you actually getting that permit. Now, if you happen to be some kind of critic of government policy or critic of central banks, this could be difficult. Or if you dare to step out of the 15-minute city zone, maybe you'll find that, oh, my CBDC is not working. Okay, so you come outside the 50, you'll find that your CBDC is not working. You're not able to make those transactions anymore. Again, going back to oh, why is it restarted? Going back to Revelations 13 and 16, right? And he calls it all, both small, great, rich, and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand on their foreheads, right? So if you don't agree, well, if you read up above verse 15, it tells you what's going to happen to those that don't agree, that may be a critic or whatever. Verse 15 says it, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, right? You're not prepared to bow down to Esau and his elites and his system. Okay, you can be removed from the earth, right? Right, and he calls it both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, right? So you can't sell without the permission. You can't buy without the permission. without having the right credentials, having the right, you know, status, you know. So say he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? So is it what goes on to say, right? It says so of course these are things we've seen already in China, right? Because they operate that social credit system, right? There's plenty of videos where somebody tries to use it to buy a ticket and it doesn't work because the social credit scores are low, right? So then effectively, there's no no right to appeal, with very few people controlling the very many. Sorry, with very few people controlling the very many. The controllers will use computers. I mentioned the AI, right, and algorithms to run the system. If you appeal the blocking of CECs, you'll be dealing with automated responses. All right. So yeah. So he seems to know what it is that they're trying to push. All right, and that's it. It's here in the scriptures. Whether he believes in scriptures or whether he listens to us or whatever. It's the same kind of conclusion. All right, of what's going on, right? And I'll read this paragraph here. It says, at the moment, there's talk about CBDCs being used via phone-based apps, right? And I believe, because I believe I watched the YouTube video or the podcast or whatever he was on, and I heard him say this part. Because you can watch that. And like I mentioned, right now we can use our phones for things like this now, but until it's integrated inside you, that's the key, that's the goal ESO wants. All right. So yes, that is the initial phase, right? So this whole phone use basis right now, that's the initial phase. Get you used to the idea of having it, right? Having it in your hands and whatever. But what was already ready around, but what was already ready around 2015 is the ultimate goal. And what they really want, apparently, let me read that again. This sentence sounds a bit frowsy, bro. So, at the moment, there's talk about CBDCs being used via phone-based apps. Yes, that is the initial phase. But what was already around 2015 is the ultimate goal. What they really want, apparently, I was told by a central banker. So he's heard, this professor Richard Warren has heard this from a central banker, right? So I was told by a central banker is CBDC looks like a small grain of rice. Okay, again, the implantable RFID. All right. So they want to put under your skin, in your hand, on your foreheads, right? As pursuant to the scriptures, which is my view a violation of human dignity, and they realize there is a hurdle to get people to accept this, right? So you have to warm the people up to the idea of that. All right. So they are using crises, disruption, and unemployment to introduce universal basic income, right? Which plays into that, right? Because you're going to be dependent on the government. They want you dependent. All right. And with dependency, man, these are very little choices, right? So if they say jump, you basically say how high. So if you want to get money and get paid, you're going to need, the CHIP to get paid. I say it might not start off that way, but those will be the conditions that are introduced at some point, right? And you're not in a position to negotiate or bargain. Okay, you're in need, and the government is happy to fulfill that need. ESO's happy to fulfill that need, and have you, CHIP, right? This is to soften the public up to accepting a CBDC chip, CHIP, right? Implying under the skin. You he was saying you get 2,000 euros into your account every month. That would vary place to place, whatever, country to country, whatever, right? It doesn't really matter how much it is, right? So, but of course, to run this efficiently, they will say we will need to use the latest technology. So you need the CBDC CHIP implant, right? So again, it's just backing up what I was just reading in my previous video, with Rishi Sunak and his Bitcoin madness, right? So that's, like I said, it's not just the UK working on these CBDCs, these digital currencies, right? But all these nations are. These are things that are going to be implemented worldwide, right? And that's why it says here in verse 16, he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, all, right? He wants to get everybody on this, man, right? Because he'll tell you, oh, he's trying to look out for everybody. That's why he's gonna give everybody universal basic income. And what you gotta do is get the CHIP, and it don't matter if you homeless on the street. You don't need an address for your bank account no more, because it's just you now. It's just you. It gets sent directly to you in your CHIP. Right, so you can go wherever you want with that, and wherever they say you can go, initiate anywhere you want with that, and pay for your goods or whatever you need. Right, they call that banking the unbanked, right? So it's open to all. So he's trying to get everybody on board with this idea, and he's gonna make it sound as cool as hell, as convenient as hell, and have you people, warm up to the idea of this technology, man. All right, so with that, I'm just gonna end it there. Like I said, it wasn't supposed to be just a long one. Was supposed to be just a quick one in addition to the other video. So until next time, I say shalom.